Hey guys, it's Kevin again. This is going to be my review for Awkward Season 4, Episode 17, The New Sex Deal. And once again, guys, a great episode. And me personally, I think this was probably the best episode of the season. I really enjoyed it. I thought this episode was very funny. But this episode actually had some really great stuff in it. This episode had some very good drama, which I really liked. And it actually had probably one of the best cliffhangers of the season so far. I thought the cliffhanger at the end of this episode was very good, and I really enjoyed it. And I'm really looking forward to the next episode. So let's just get to it, because overall, I thought this episode was really, really good. So, of course, last week, the ending of last week's episode was, of course, Jenna and Tamara created that dude database and everything. Jenna wanted to shut it down. She shut it down, but when she shut it down, everyone found out that, of course, Jenna was the person that's, made the dude database, and everyone, basically she's hated by everyone because it's now Valentine's Day. And they're basically calling today the Great Repression, because the girls are not, the guys aren't, basically the girls aren't getting sex from the guys, and, there's not a lot of, happiness going on, because Jenna's basically ruined it, because all the guys are very self-confident right now. So, basically, they're still mad about being rated by the girls, and Tamara says that the Great Repression has ruined Valentine's Day, and I love her line that BJs are like balloons for guys. I thought that was really funny. That was a great line. Classic Tamara. That was a great line, definitely. Jenna reminds her that she was in on it too, which she was, and Tamara's not really taking any credit for it. So she opens up her locker, and a pile of blue balls falls out, and some guy says she gave them blue balls, so they're giving them back. I thought that was really funny. And a girl comes up and dumps a slushie on her head. By the way, there's no Owen in this episode, so I guess his plot is over. I guess Owen, is done for the season. I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be like Bailey, who, you have that random sophomore come in and then they disappear. Like, Bailey was the freshman, and now we have a sophomore, and then they just randomly disappear. I don't know if this is going to keep happening, but I hope Owen comes back, because I really liked his character. He didn't need to be in this episode, though. So, Val, meanwhile, is wondering what Will has planned for Valentine's Day, because, of course, she thought that the two of them had a genuine connection. She thought the two of them had a connection where, he liked her and everything. He thought, she thought that was sincere. So, basically, she tells Lissa that her tells Lissa that her boyfriend started out as her stalker, and she then tells Lissa that she just found out her sister was really her mom, and, that was just, okay. Val is one of the most messed up lives ever, I gotta say. Val's life is definitely extremely messed up, and, yeah, definitely, her life is very messed up. I just have to say that, someone has to say that, because definitely her life is very messed up, in my opinion. I think Val's life is completely messed up, and just, it's hilarious to watch, because she always tells the weirdest stories, but they're so funny to watch, and that's one of the things I've always loved about Val's character. So she tells Lissa that, basically, Lissa says her mom sent her, we actually get some updates on Tyler, and we find out that her boyfriend, slash brother Tyler, was sent to their family. Her dad is in gay rehab, and she says this is making her not trust God's plans, because we know, of course, Lissa doesn't think she really trusts God right now, and basically, I thought this was very interesting, because they're not portraying this in a very, dramatic way at all. They're kind of portraying this in a silly way. However, this could end up becoming a very dramatic storyline, which I personally really like. It is a good storyline. I like the fact that Lissa kind of doesn't really trust God right now, because of what's happened to her. It makes sense why she doesn't really trust God right now, and doesn't think that, it's going to work out for her and Tyler. It makes sense, but I'm definitely interested in seeing where this is going to go, because I think this is definitely very interesting. So, Jenna learns about this thing called the New Deal, which ended the Great Depression. Of course, the New Deal ended the Great Depression. Basically, the Great Depression didn't happen anymore, and that's inspired her to basically find a solution. So she makes a call and barters for something for $200. And she's booked a party bus, basically. Now, Tamara thinks that she used this money on, clothes or something. But no, she booked it on a party bus. And I thought that was definitely very interesting. And I thought it was a good idea, because this will get people to not really trust her more, but, they will not be as pissed at her anymore, I think. I think that it was a good plan overall. But the thing is, when does stuff work out for Jenna? Nothing ever works out for Jenna. I knew this wasn't going to work out, and Matty then hassles Jenna about the blue balls, and she says she rented a party bus, and she reminds them about the Julies. Basically, the Julies had a party bus in their double-decker, and pretty much every single couple ended up having sex. That's what ended up happening, and I mean, that's a typical thing to do. You have sex in a bus, the driver looks away. That's like a typical thing to do. I understand why Jenna's doing this. It's a very, very well thought out plan, I have to say. Definitely, if she was going to think of a good plan, this was a very well thought out plan, in my opinion. So Jenna says that the driver looks the other way. Matty agrees to ride it, and basically he agrees to ride it. Now, Jenna at this point does not know about Gabby. She does not know that him and Gabby are dating. She does not know about it, so I knew that this was definitely not going to work out for her. So Val goes to chat with Will about her Valentine's Day plans, and he says he's out of town to go diving this weekend, and Val asks why he's going. He says he needs R&R, and she tries to drop at him, but he's clueless and goes. And, basically, you know, he's kind of ignoring her, and she doesn't know why, because, one, he stalked her for all that time, and she doesn't understand, you know, why he isn't, you know, responding to her or anything, because, of course, he stalked her for all that time, and now she feels like he doesn't give a shit about her, which doesn't make any sense, because she clearly does care about him. I'm pretty sure she cares about him. I'm not gonna say, you know, like, she cares about him more than anything, but, like, I think she does have, you know, care about him. So Tamara has booze for the bus, and then Sadie and Sergio pull up, and I thought they were going to go together, but no, she's mad because Sergio's working, and she says she hopes he chokes on a chulapa, and I thought that was really funny. And Lissa's there, and says Sadie can be her date, and Sadie says that's just sad, because basically Lissa wants to have, like, a girls' night out, which, honestly, I'm sorry, but Valentine's Day is not for that. We all know that Valentine's Day... Basically, Valentine's Day is a terrible day if you're single. I've had to go through many days where I've never had a girlfriend, so Valentine's Day is very depressing for me, definitely. And I could definitely agree with all of them that Valentine's Day is not the happiest day if you're not single, and it's not the right time for girls' night out either. So, definitely, because, like, definitely that's not a good idea. So, Matty pulls up, and Jenna's very, you know, happy of how he cleaned himself up, because, of course, you know, his plan was to get his mojo back, and she still thinks he's trying to do that. We know that he has gotten his mojo back, because now he's with Gabby, but Jenna doesn't realize this. You know, she thinks that he's still just trying to get his mojo back and everything, and, basically, she then realizes that he is going with Gabby. She sees Gabby with him, and, basically, we find out that this party bus is not a party bus. It is basically what Cole and Theo called a stripper's meth lab. I thought that was a great line, and they go onto this bus. It's hilarious to watch. They're all wondering where the fuck the bus is from. The driver looks like extremely disheveled. He looks like something out of, like, maybe like a really, think of like Cheech and Chong. That's what he looks like. And Tamara has, I just read that. Tamara tells her to focus on ending the drought, not on exes. And Jake rolls up, and Tamara obsesses a little bit, because Jake has gone back to his original style. He is no longer looking like a hippie. He's now looking how he did in seasons 1 to 3, which I thought was very interesting. And basically, he's done this because of the events that happened last week. And because what happened last week, he's realizing that he doesn't want to change himself. He wants to go back to his original style, and I think it's good, because I personally like Jake in this, you know, original style. I like seeing Jake more like his typical self, and not like the kind that, plays music all the time. Like, they kind of abandoned that, but I'm sure they are going to get back to that, but he's not going to wear, like, the weird haircut anymore or anything, so, you know, Samara's a little bit surprised at that, so I'm wondering, okay, are we going to have, like, a Gennaro reunion? I was hoping we get that. So the party bus rolls up, and Theo says the stripper's meth lab, as I said, and, basically, Sadie asks if something died in here, and basically, they're trying to have fun, but Theo and Cole, they're the usuals and some random people. And Jenna says her party bus is more like a funeral processional. And the driver says no open containers, so the booze is out. They can't have booze, so they decide to play Never Have I Ever with warm water. That's just like, if you have to do that, that's when you know you've stooped so low. Like, I can understand if it's a supervised party. Like, if you're at a supervised party and you play Never Have I Ever, that's fine. But something like this, where they're trying to have a good time, they're just trying to be, you know, have couples with each other, that is, like, the worst thing to do. If you are at a party and you have to play Never Have I Ever with warm water, it's just, like, so devastating. So, Theo says never has he ever ridden in something so revolting. Cole adds, or on, and I thought that was really funny. And Tay says she's never been in a mobile leprosy unit. And Matty says, and I thought this was, you know, really, he says he's never been with a MILF, and Jake has to drink, because, of course, Jake has been. So, Tamara asks who he banged and he won't give, he won't tell her and everything. He's not telling her who he had sex with. I'm pretty sure that plot's over because I think Jake's realized that, he doesn't need to change because, of course, last week he did that because he was trying to be like a bad boy and he wasn't. So I'm pretty much sure the MILF thing is over, in my opinion. I think it is. So then Gabby says never has she ever scored triple digits in mini golf, and Matty has to turn because, of course, he did that and he cheated. And Jenna's annoyed with Gabby and Matty's flirting. The thing is, though, what Jenny needs to realize is that this is not Amber. This is not Amber. Gabby's a nice girl. She's not like Amber. So far, at least, she's not like Amber. And I think I don't think it's so much that Jenna's definitely jealous, but I think she's also upset at the fact that the last time Matty had someone, it did not work out well at all, and she's worried that Gabby is going to turn out to be like Amber, which I'm sure we were all worried about, and I'm happy that Gabby has actually turned out to be a nice girl, a genuinely nice girl. She kind of reminds me a little bit of Bailey. You know how Bailey was just like a very sweet girl who was very different from anyone else in the show? Gabby kind of is a lot like Bailey, definitely. I'd say definitely she's like her. Only Gabby's a senior and Bailey was a freshman, but she definitely reminds me very much of Bailey last year. So, I think that definitely is really good. So then basically, she said, she forces Matty to drink, and then he wants to know whose, virginity she took, which of course was Owen's, and she says it wasn't Luke, and then the party bus comes to slamming halt. She does not tell him about Owen, which I didn't think she was going to, and then Val complains to Allie and Lacey that once she let the stalker in, the romance died, and they're at the school to chaperone the dance, and Allie has a drink sack in her, basically, so Val can drink from her tits, basically. I thought that was really funny, and offers Val a chance to suck on it, but says she's on duty, and the bus puts the kids out at the school, and Lissa sees some candy. It turns out it's not candy. It's actually Molly. It's Molly. Which, if you know what Molly is, you know that it is a very recent drug that has been extremely addicting. It is one of the most dangerous drugs right now, and of course we know that Theo and Cole do a lot of Molly. We know that for a fact. We know that they've said they do a lot of Molly. They do that regularly. That's something they do. They always carry Molly with them, and that's nothing new. They always carry Molly with them. So, of course, Lissa, of course, is completely clueless. She has no idea what's going on, and basically she's going to get high. So, I thought that was definitely very funny. And Theo and Cole find out that, yes, she did take it, and basically... Oh, also, Jenna sees a condom fall on the floor and asks what guy was breaking the sex ban tonight, and Matty admits that it's actually his. So, yeah, we find out that basically Matty's planning on having sex with Gabby, which is very interesting. Gabby stomps out, and Matty falls in shame. She has no idea that he was planning on doing this. And the others pile out, and Theo and Cole are wondering where their party favors are, and they realize that the Vestal Virgin Lissa took the pill, and I thought that was very funny. They're intrigued, and they basically are going to mess with her. We know that for a fact, because Theo and Cole, they love to mess with people. They're messing with Alyssa. They messed with her last week, so I knew they were going to mess with her again. It was great to see. Definitely, that was very funny. And, they realize they're late to the party. Val, Allie, and, Lacey realize they're late to the party, and Jenna says they need to get, basically, they need to get the booze off the bus. Turns out the bus driver guzzled it all, and everyone gangs up on Jenna for sucking. And Jenna tells Tamara she's taking all the heat for something she did with her, which is true. I agree with Jenna saying that. Tamara created this too. She needs to come clean and says, hey, look, I was the one that wanted to make it, because Jenna was never the one that came out and said, I want to make this new database. That was all Tamara. Tamara was the one who said, I want to do this. Tamara was the one in control of this. This was not Jenna. This was all Tamara that did this. So, Tamara needs to come clean about this, definitely. I don't know if she's going to, but she needs to tell people, look, this was not my idea, this was all Jenna's idea, and, this was my idea, this was not all Jenna's idea, it was my idea, and she needs to tell people that. So, Lissa's high and asks if Cole and Theo, I love what she said if she could ever have the gauging like her dad. They asked if she loves a girl, and she says her mom, but then also says Sadie, and basically, she now thinks that she's a lesbian, which is really funny, and, because we know she's not. We know that she's just very high at this point. So a girl comes over and threatens Jenna. I gotta say, that girl that came over to Jenna, she was really hot. She threatens Jenna with violence, says she doesn't get laid tonight. She will, lay it all out on her, which was really funny. And Jenna is very desperate at this point. And she goes on saying she's sorry about the ranking thing, but that shouldn't ruin the dancer Valentine's Day. And, she's going on about it. And Tamara calls Jake a MILF Slayer and tells her to help, but Jake reminds her that she's the BFF. She's her best friend, and of course, you know, she was the one that she was the one that thought of the dude database in the first place, and that she should take full credit for it, and he thinks that she should come clean and basically say, look, this was my idea, not Jenna's, and I was the one that took the credit for it, and I agree with what Jake is definitely saying, that she needs to come clean and say that it was her that did it, because because everyone thinks it's Jenna at this point, everyone's ganging up on her, and Jenna, and, you know, Tamara needs to be a good friend of Jenna. She's not being a very good friend to her, so basically, I love what Tamara does. She gets on the stage, and she agrees to give Jake, you know, basically what ends up happening is she thanks her, and Tamara says she should have volunteered as tribute, days ago, and basically, she gets boozed. They're encouraging the guys to cut loose without worrying about being ranked and everything, and, you know, Tamara admits that she was in on it, and I thought that was great, and then Lissa heads over to Sadie, and starts touching her, then kisses her, and this gets the guys going, of course. Now they all run to the girls, and Lissa asks if she can touch her hair. Theo and Cole say this is their finest work, and I thought that was hilarious to watch. I love seeing Theo and Cole in the show. I love seeing them mess with people. They're so fun to watch. Jenna thanks her, and Tamara says she should have volunteered as tribute days ago. The chaperones show up finally. Jake tells Tamara a little bit about the MILF and says he's been getting her off multiple times. Tamara Tamara agrees to give Jake a try at taking her to, you know, giving her an orgasm. Because, of course, you know, they had that whole plot, you know, they had the whole thing in season 1, you know, episode 1, where she couldn't have an orgasm, so they're going to do that again. And, Matty asked Jenna what she was pulling with the game in front of Gabby, and she says she's getting, aggro, and he tells her thanks to her game, Gabby left and he's alone, and I thought that was definitely very sad that, Jenna did that. He's not happy with her at all, so Lacey says she remembers getting kicked out of a dance when Kevin went down on her, and Allie says that's romantic. She lights up, and Val says it's not cool, but then pushes her under the fire alarm to keep smoking. I thought that was really funny. And I knew the fire alarm was going to go off, just because, you know, she smokes a lot. So Sadie tells Val that Sergio bailed on her to work, and Val says they can hang. But then Sergio shows up, and Sadie says she has to be a spinster alone. And Val says she's the biggest loser here, but Will is there. He says he wanted to kick it old school, so he's been stalking her ass all night. They end up kissing. And, Jake, meanwhile, him and Tamara are going at it and everything. She, at first, is just, like, not really into it, but then, of course, he hits the right spot and gives her an orgasm, basically. So, as soon as that happens, though, the sprinklers turn on. Very well done. That scene was, you know, very well done. Thanks to Allie, everyone breaks into wet smooches, and it looks like, this whole thing of the sex drought is over. Like, the whole thing of them not having sex, that's basically over. Except for Jenna. You know, Jenna and Matty are not in a good place right now, definitely. So, at school, Jenna's very happy that everyone is back to just hating her like normal. By the way, I was kind of wondering something with Jake and Tamara. I'm personally thinking that the two of them are going to get back together because of what happened with them in this episode. They kind of showed that I think they have a chance of getting back together, and I would really like to see that because you guys know I am a huge Gennaro fan. I have always been a Gennaro fan, and I always will be a Gennaro fan, and I'd love to see these two get back together. It'd be fantastic to watch, and it's definitely one of the things that I personally would love to see in this show the most. I'd love to see the two of them get back together. So I really hope that happens. We'll have to see what happens there, but I don't know. So, pretty much, it's normal for Jenna, you know, Sadie's calling her now and everything, and Tamara asks who seen Jake. Jenna asks her not to go over since Matty's mad, and Tamara says he's in the right because she wronged him, and Jenna, and I agree with Tamara says, look, she wronged him, and Matty has a right to be angry. So Jenna apologized to Matty, and he says he was being dickish too. He says Gabby isn't mad and just wants to take things slow. And basically he admits that she's a virgin, and he respects that, and he says some things are worth waiting for. Goes over to Gabby, and this makes Jenna very angry because he basically just told her, look, I don't give a shit about you, but I care about Gabby. And basically what he said, you know, basically this is really big because, of course, he didn't make Jenna wait. He just took it right away. So Jenna's wondering why he would be this way to Gabby, but not this way to her. First of all, it's called maturity, Jenna. But the other thing is that, you know, Matty, I didn't know he loved Gabby as much as he did. I didn't think Gabby, you know, Matty really cared about Gabby. In fact, I just thought it was all about him trying to get his mojo back. But now he really does care about Gabby. So there definitely is going to be a lot of tension between Jenna and Gabby. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what's going to happen there. Lissa being suspended because of Molly. Now, I have this weird prediction. It's a weird prediction. I don't know if it's going to happen, but we'll have to see. My prediction is that I feel that Lissa is going to get addicted to Molly because Molly's a very addicting drug. It's not a drug that you can just get rid of one chew. It's not an easy drug to get rid of. and I really feel that she's going to get addicted to it, in my opinion. I feel that's what's going to happen, and if that does happen, I think it'd actually be a pretty cool twist. I'd like to see what happens there, definitely. Tamara and Jake, I think they are going to get back together. I think after this episode, they have a better chance of getting back together, and I really would love to see that happen. Sadie and Sergio, I think they're officially together. I really love seeing them together. It's great to watch them, definitely. And did you like seeing Theo and Cole mess with Lissa? I would say they're kind of the antagonists right now, but they're funny antagonists. They're antagonists in the sense that they're really funny to watch, and I definitely really enjoy that. But that's basically for my review. Let me know what you guys thought of this episode. Overall, I thought this was the best episode of the season. I loved it. Thought it was hilarious. Thought it had some really good dramatic moments as well. And that twist at the end, the cliffhanger, was definitely really well done, because it really shows that, you know, Matty doesn't care about Jenna as much as she thought he did, because he's kind of moved on from her, and it's really sad because I want these two to get back together, and it doesn't seem like that's likely. So that's basically my review. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be my review for another classic horror movie review, because there is one I want to review to you guys today, and I will get to that. So I'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.